What's up YouTube? This is going to be our guide on how to use Registeel in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun meme movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section. If you enjoy these and they help you out, drop a like and let's get into it. So earlier we looked at Regirock, now we're going to have a look at Registeel. So Registeel out of the Regi trio is probably the best and most used Pokemon. Generally because of its typing and its stats. So looking at its stats here, we've got that 80 base health again, and it's got a whopping 150 defense and special defense. So it's very, very bulky, and it's got a good amount of health on top of that too. So it's going to be super, super tanky and just an annoying Pokemon to get rid of. Now, it has the ability Clear Body, as they do, and Light Metal. So, Clear Body obviously stopping the dropping of stats, and Light Body halving its weight. Moves, specific moves, probably there would be Low Kick. There's not too many else that would, would really affect it. So, this first set, we're going to be making use of Body Press. Arguably, well, this is really the best Body Press user out of all three of them, just due to its typing, right? So this set is a little bit more involved than just a 252 one, so let's check it out. So Body Press, obviously, great move there. With its already whopping defensive stat, it's going to be nice and hitting hard. We've got Heavy Slam here, just for some general damage, and against any lighter opponents too, it's going to be good. We've got Stealth Rock here, set that Stealth Rock up. Works nice with the item red card too, so you can, maybe if you don't have the most favorable matchup, you've got the Stealth Rock up, and then, red card can forcibly swap the opponent out, and then maybe something that, that comes in before a Rapid Spinner or something, or default gets rid of the entry as like Charizard, that can put some hurt on them for sure. And then I've just popped on Explosion as the last move. So we've sort of got a Stealth Rock lead here, with Body Press and Heavily Slam. So we've got some really nice overall bulk here. It's going to do its job very, very nicely at setting up rocks and just spreading some good damage, and then exploding when it dies, or just body pressing until it dies, basically. The Terra I've got in here is Terra Ghost, which is good for Registeel because it's only weak to a couple of things. The thing about this too is it's not affected by toxic or anything like that, and it's really annoying to get rid of too. So this is sort of a standard sort of Stealth Rock's lead here. Now you could change a few things on there if you wanted to, if you felt like I could slide Iron Defense on here as well. That's another option, to slide that to, for more damage from Body Press. That's definitely a good idea. And you could also, it also learns Thunder Wave too. I think all the Regis learn that. So Thunder Wave can be a nice, handy support move there. Something that's annoying and speedy. You could, spread that paralysis around on the team. So that's just another option you could go for. The EV spread, this is just an even spread all around. So max health definitely on Registeel all the time, every day. And then we've got 180 in defense and 76 in special defense. So this gives it pretty good all around bulk. And it still gives it enough bulk for Body Press to hit hard. But it gives it enough special defense to be able to, live important, super effective attacks as well. But it is very, very bulky, so it's going to be very rare that this would be one-shotted outside of a Pokemon having a significant amount of boosts and stuff like that. So that's going to be my first set for Registeel. Let's check out the next one. All right, so this one here is a bulky curse set. So this one is pretty good once it's set up, but it does take quite a while to set up, right? And it's not as immediate as Iron Defense too on the defensive side. So Body Press is going to take a longer time to build. Plus we've dumped everything into special defense this time, right? So this is definitely a singles build, this one. So we got Chesto Berry and Rest. So Chesto Rest, and then we've got Clear Body as the ability, Curse Rest. So we're going to curse up as much as we can until we feel like, we're going to faint the next turn, or we're close to fainting. We might be in a critical hit range. Rest off. You've got all those boosts up, and then start using Curse again, or start doing some damage with Iron here. Very, very annoying to get around too. Once it is set up, your opponent will need to set up themselves or rely on a critical hit, to get around you. It can't be toxic stall. Probably the only weakness is if you have to use rest again, then the opponent may have some time, to set up then, or say there's an electric terrain on the field preventing you from sleeping. There are some counters to that too, but once set up is a real pain in the backside to get around. That is for sure. I gave us Terror type fighting for body press damage. And that's gonna be nice. Now I put Iron Head on here because this actually does outclass Heavy Slam in a lot of cases. If the Pokemon is heavy themselves, Heavy Slam isn't going to be so good. So I gave it Iron Head there. This could also be pretty interesting on the Trick Room as well, especially with Iron Head going first and having that 30% chance to flinch. So this is another way that you can run Registeel, but definitely this set is more focused on singles as well as this one here. Just going back to this first set, you could definitely run the Iron Defense set on there. Like, you could definitely run that with Stealth Rock too. And you could even do this. You could even put Rest on there and put Chesto Bro as well. Because you can do, like, mean stuff like starting with Alola Ninetales, setting up a Veil, and then getting this to set up. You're just not going to do any damage to it, and then it will just power through your team and take no damage. So that's another way of doing it too. You can set up and rest off and stuff. You could even do that special defensive build that I was showing you before. You could even do that. Probably not Calm. I would do Relaxed or something like that, or Sassy. Probably Sassy. We'll do Sassy because we don't really need speed. So you could even do a build like that. Have a Alola Ninetales lead set up there. Bring this in and start setting up Iron defenses. Even resisted Pokemon are going to take significant amounts of damage after you get 3 Iron defenses up. It's going to be bad. It's going to be very, very annoying. And especially if the Veil is up for 8 turns. It's going to be absolutely disgusting to get rid of. Anyway, so there's a couple of single sets. Let's have a look at some doubles. All right, so Registeel in doubles is still going to be making use of Iron Defense, obviously. It's a very, very good move on it. So what we've got here, we've got a little bit of a different Terra. It's more of a defensive Terra. So we got Terra Water for any fire type moves coming your way too, and any fighting type moves and water type moves, and ground type and fire type. Ground type's going to be neutral. Fighting's going to obviously be neutral too. So that's going to be helpful. I've got Chopper Berry on there just as an initial halving of damage of a first fighting move, because that could buy you like another turn before you have to Terra, or you may not want to Terra it, kind of thing. So we've got Iron Defense and Body Press, obviously. Heavy Slam and Protect. So pretty straightforward there, sort of set. Doing damage with Body Press. And I've given it Relax too, so you could put this under a Trick Room. I think that would work rather nicely. And then we've got EVs, 252 in health, always. Defense, 136, and special defense, we've got 120. So we've got some pretty good overall bulk there on the defensive side and the special side. So pretty even there. So it can live special hits as well, especially when you're getting those Iron defenses up. The Registeel, then, people will be wanting to use special moves against you, kind of thing. So that still allows you to live some powerful attacks there and, fire off some body presses and stuff like that. So that would be an option there. You could do Ghost as well. You could do Fighting. There are a couple of options there. Some of the ones I've already mentioned. So Ghost and Fighting, that would work fine. But I don't know if I'd Terra Registeel, honestly. There's probably better options to do that. This is just more of a bulky set there. Dealing damage with Body Press. This being basically it's just a pain, really. It's a pain to feint. And if you've got like a powerful, high damaging ally next to it, say Kyogre, which works very well with Registeel, that's pretty good because that can just be tanking hits and then, setting up Iron defenses and firing off Body Presses while all the attention's on, trying to feint the Kyogre and stuff like that. That's just an option. I'll go over some more teammates in a bit. Let's have a look now at our next double set. So our next set is probably a little bit more gimmicky, but it can still be fun. So we've got a Gravity Registeel here. So I've got Electric Seed, so you could use this if, say, a Miraidon or a Pinch Urchin. And we've got Gravity, Thunder Wave, Body Press, and Metal Sound. So it's a complete support Registeel set. So this is going to be dropping the special attack of the targets by 2. So say if you have a Miraidon, this will like benefit Miraidon a lot by dropping special attack. It already has huge special attack already. And if you had like a Pokemon with low accuracy moves, say you've got like Blizzard or Thunder and stuff like that, Hurricane, this Gravity will definitely help out. Even stuff like Rock Slide, you know, that'll make it 100% accurate. Does a 1.6 times to accuracy too, to be specific. Thunder Wave's useful too, and then Body Press just so it's not a ginormous setup, you know, machine. It doesn't get set up on. So 252, 108, and 136 EVs, Impish Nature. Just trying to get all-round bulk and pretty close there on the defense and you know, a special defensive side. Electric Seed is going to give it a +1 when it swaps into the electric terrain too. So Body Press will be doing some very nice damage. You could get rid of Metal Sound or Thunder Wave if you want an Iron Defense on there too. But I think it's unique because it's a support and it's a Gravity Pokemon, so that's kind of unusual. And there's not too many Gravity Pokemon out there. I mean, it's nice to not miss your move. So maybe that, you know, sort of just trying to carve out another niche for Registeel there. So we've got Terra-type Ghost. You could go Terra-type Fairy. You could go Water. You know, there's a lot of defensive ones to go for. Probably, I probably wouldn't Terra that though. I probably wouldn't do that. Usually you're typically better off Terraing your more offensive Pokemon. But sometimes you'll find like a Pokemon that's a support Pokemon. If you Terra, it can really counter a lot of the team. So that's generally the time to do it. That can sponge a lot of attacks and stuff like that. So there's some double sets there. Let's have a look at a couple more of these sets, and then we'll do some team building and some you know, counters and discussion. All right, so we got a bit of a PIMPNITE special here. I call this one Pure Salt. So it's definitely very gimmicky. So as you know, the Thunder Wave, you know, they all get Thunder Wave, and it also gets Iron Head, which is a recipe for some Pure Salt, right? So we can put that Thunder Wave down, and then we could start spamming Iron Head, right? Like we've never spammed it before. So with it's got terrible speed, but if you go max speed in there with Adamant, it's going to be hitting reasonably hard, and it's going to be outspeeding a lot of things too. Then again, there are quite a few other things that, you know, faster Pokemon, even with the Paralyze, that still may get outsped. So we got Iron Head, Sub, and it's a Sub Punch set, which is pretty cool. So it does get Focus Punch. So you could fire those Registeel hands at those Steel-type Pokemon, and then everything else you'll try and flinch with Iron Head and Thunder Wave combination. We got that Leftovers. We got that Clear Body. Leftovers is good when you're flinching the opponent or they're not doing anything while they're paralyzed. Can heal you. And we've got this a fully sweeping physical set. Bit of fun. Definitely a fun set for sure. Probably better in singles. You could also have Terra-type Fighting on there too if you didn't want Steel for more damage on Focus Punch. So you got that Sub Punch too, popping off. Let's have a look now at our very last PIMPNITE special set. That was almost a PIMPNITE special set there, I'll admit. All right, so we had to have a look at the special set. I really had to do that. And this one actually hits really, really hard, but it doesn't survive for very long. So we got Max Health, Max Special Attack, Modest Nature, straight up. It does get Metal Sound, which you got to see before. I've given this Light Metal, so I don't get hit by stuff like Low Kick for as much damage. And it is quite a heavy Pokemon too. Once again, Clear Body could work at the same time. Throat Spray, we got Metal Sound and Throat Spray. So Throat Spray is a way for Registeel to increase its, special attack. I mean, it's 75. Let's be real. I've seen worse special attack stat than that. So after a Throat Spray, it is going to have some reasonable special attack. So I thought Steel Beam could be interesting because it's a very, very powerful special move. You do have to give up 50% of your health, though, to use it. So You want to be making sure you're getting some W's with it. So with that metal sound, you've got -2 on the opponent's special defense, and you've given yourself a +1. So it's going to be hitting really, really hard. Ancient Power is another way to try and boost its stats and to give it overall bulk. That could work too. And then we've also got Thunder as well. That's just another high base power special move that it learns. No real reason for it there. Or you could run it in, if you're running it in rain and stuff to power down fire type moves. Thunder could be useful there too. So yeah, a bit of a fun set there for a PIMPNITE special. Give it a shot. It's going to be super, super powerful. All right, let's have a look at some team build and counters and stuff like that. So for a team build, I actually like using Registeel on rain teams. I think it's pretty good. So we'll start from some real competitive sweat here. So the Pokemon like Kyogre is pretty nice with it, because Kyogre sets up the drizzle, and that virtually any fire type moves are going to do nothing to a Registeel. They're going to do nothing at all, absolutely nothing, right? And then, Registeel can just, use Iron Defense and boost up its Iron Defense while Kyogre is just spamming Water Spout or Origin Pulse or, whatever sort of stuff there. Pelipper's another good one too, another Drizzle user, so that would be very good as a partner. I quite like that. And then, they work pretty well together and such, because Pelipper is a flying type, so you could swap that into any ground type moves, and Registeel could swap into any electric type moves and stuff like that. It's not going to do any damage, and ice, all those sort of things. It's not going to do very much damage to it. Like I mentioned before, with Regirock, Indeedee is a good partner too for Trick Room and Psychic Surge. They always work very well together. Blocking priority and allowing a slow Pokemon like Registeel to go first. Now, a good Pokemon to cover Registeel's weaknesses, fire, fighting, those sort of things. Urshifu, Rapid Strike's very good for that, especially those fire types. Another good one would be Palkia. But depending on what your rule set you're playing and stuff, I'm just going to suggest all the Pokemon that could be counters and, or teammates and stuff like that. So you got other stuff like Palkia. Another good one could be Tornadus. That could be really good at setting up Prankster Rain Dance. That could benefit the team and such. And then we also have... Actually, Blood Moon would be okay as well. Blood Moon wouldn't be bad at all. Because that could, that could get rid of those fire types, and then you could swap Registeel in for any ice or water type moves. So that's a couple of good partners there for the Registeel. Another one, I was mentioning this before. Even for singles, even for doubles, you could have a Ninetales set up. You could have that Ninetales set up Aurora Veil. And if you put something like this under there, it's just never going to... It's going to be so annoying to try and feint that. So, and then it's got 8 turns of being incredibly bulky too. So Ninetales could definitely work there for sure. You could even... You might even be able to go Terra type Ice and even give it more defense. But maybe that could be pushing it there. You might be making yourself weak to too many things. But interesting idea. You could put it on a snow team. Make Registeel a snow, into that Ice type. So that's another good one. Another nice Pokemon would be Wellspring as well. That would be good at getting rid of any of those fire type Pokemon, ground type Pokemon. That's a solid partner for sure. Now counters for Registeel. Registeel does have amazing bulk all round, right? But you can still hit it very, very hard. I'd say Blood Moon would make a good counter, because Registeel, if it's going to increase its stats, it's going to increase its defense. So this with Earth Power is going to hit very, very hard. Also Vacuum Wave too. So it's got a lot of moves that can get around it. And it could be run alongside something like, let's say if it was run alongside something like Chi-Yu, or even Chi-Yu itself, with Beads of Ruin, Fire Blast, it's going to destroy Registeel. So there are counters like that, even with its ginormous defenses. And then you've also got moves that are 100% crit, right? So like Surging Strikes, Urshifu can go Terra Water Surging Strikes and bypass those Iron Defense boosts too. So Pokemon like that are good, are definitely good at getting around Registeel's like crazy bulk, right? Now let's have a look at some sort of last minute things there. The only Regi I have to do now is I've done all of them except for Reg Ice, I think. I think Reg Ice would be the least used out of all of them. So once again, most of the Regis, very, very barren move pools. So we went over Iron Defense. You could do a Curse set, sort of mentioned both of them. I mentioned that Rest Sleep Talk set or Resto. You could do Resto Chesto or Rest Sleep Talk. You could do like Rest Sleep Talk, Iron Defense, and Curse. That could work. But you'd have to make sure that you've got rid of all the ghosts. We've gone over Stealth Rock, Thunder Wave. It does get Amnesia, which is pretty interesting. But trying to fit Amnesia onto the... You could do like something weird like... I don't know, Amnesia. This is more for singles, by the way. You could do something crazy like this. Something really, really annoying like that. You definitely have max health. I'm just thinking now. Probably, I would do something like this. This is gimmick though, but it could still be very, very annoying to faint. I'd keep Steel on there, so you could definitely do something like that. That would just be annoying, really, really annoying. Like, obviously its counters are critical hits and stuff like that. I went over what the counters are, but that would just be a pain in the ass to get rid of. I don't know even why they taught that Amnesia, but I don't think many people are going to use Amnesia on it though, but that could be a nasty, nasty set. Yeah, it's pretty much, that's pretty much, it does get, it does get Rain Dance too, so that's an extra weather move that it does get. And all the sort of same there is Regi Rock, so nothing super amazing there that's different than what we've seen. Body Press, we've sort of gone over that. It does get a lot of physical moves. But you could try a Hard Press set, but it doesn't really have the attack stat for it. Hard Press is a pretty cool move, but it's not a physical attacker, so there's no option. You could... There are options like Fling and Toxic Orb, but this is a lot of like more gimmicky stuff. You could try and... On a support set, you could try for that, because, it doesn't learn Toxic. If it did get Toxic, if it ever does get Toxic in the future... That's a good move on Registeel. It's very bulky. You'll be able to do that easy with Protect. And special moves, they're very, very limited as well, as you can see. You might be able to do like a Zap Cannon set with Blunder Policy, or Choice Spec Steel Beam, Meteor Beam with a Power Herb, maybe. You could do that Blunder Policy set with like Focus Blast, Zap Cannon, Steel Beam. That would be wild. It'd probably last for one turn though. Anyway, that is pretty much it for Registeel. Out of the original Regi trio, I'd say this is definitely the best one of them, or most used. It's the best body press Pokemon too, because of its typing. It's not weak to very many things. It's got very, very good overall bulk on both sides too. And it's got the means to do a lot of damage with body press if, it's able to set up and be very, very annoying. That's about it for Registeel. If you've got any other movesets you want to add, please put them below. I love seeing movesets and stuff. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below. And I'll catch you next time. Peace out.